Egypt never ceases to amaze us with new and amazing discoveries. Some of them aid in the reconstruction of the history of a great civilization, while others shock us and leave us wondering how is that possible. Let's get into a list of the 10 most incredible finds in Egypt that scare scientists. Number 1. Meteorite jewelry. Although the Egyptians were skilled builders, they were limited by the technology of the period. They didn't understand the notion of the wheel, and we assumed that bronze was the only metal that they could properly dig and work with. A 5,000-year-old tomb of Cairo's outskirts was largely ordinary, save for one curious find. Iron jewelry. How might ferrous beads be manufactured thousands of years before Egypt's Iron Age? Rare metallic gifts from the sky such as these would have been the ultimate status symbol. This begs the issue of how they got the fire hot enough to melt the iron in the first place. Number 2. The Tomb of the Silver Pharaoh. The tomb of Susens I is largely recognized as one of the most underappreciated finds of all time. During World War II, Egyptologist Pierre Monet uncovered the tomb and received the shock of his life when he learned what he had just stumbled onto. The enormous magnitude of splendor within the tomb exceeds even that of 2 tons of ordinary last resting place. The huge hall is adorned with an amazing wealth of gems and exotic materials, but it's the one-of-a-kind centerpiece that commands attention. To date, this is the only tomb built completely of pure silver. The craftsmanship is first-rate, with a degree of exquisite detail regarded to be beyond even the most brilliant metal craftsmen of the day. A massive, solid gold death mask lies over his face, a statement of grandeur, money, and power. Egypt was in a state of civil conflict throughout his rule, which makes this dazzling show all the more perplexing. Number 3. The Statues of Sekhmet. While excavating King Amenhotep's temple, 3 researchers discovered hundreds of 1.9-meter tall sculptures depicting the lion goddess Ra, who was connected with the battle and revenge, pouring down fire arrows on her foes as she butchered humans and devoured their blood, according to mythology. The great majority of sculptures have apparent defacement and purposeful damage to the Sekhmet's head and face. This may have been a display of man's domination over the goddess, as there were so many emphasized bodies in her path. How interesting is it to find these amazing facts about Egypt? As always, you can trust us at Ancient History to be that one-stop channel where you can learn everything that you need to know about discoveries. Let's continue on our list of top 10 incredible finds in Egypt that scared scientists. And whilst we do that, don't you forget to dig up that subscribe button and join us on a journey of discovery and mystery. Number 4. The Mystery Black Tomb. Our 4th on the list is Egypt's Coffin Black Mystery Tomb, which was opened in Alexandria in 2018. Archaeologists in Egypt discovered a terrifying and mysterious black granite sarcophagus. It was a bit different from the normal tomb things they're usually discovering out there, and it really did a number on those tasked with uncovering it. To begin with, there was the normal fear of the curse. This very much goes without saying, yet whenever a tomb is opened, you know the curse of Mummy's tomb is still a serious concern for some people. I'm sure that as they cracked open this enormous black coffin, these lucky archaeologists were confronted with the most revolting stink. After all, it was a tomb, so this shouldn't come as a surprise. They had hoped to find Alexander the Great's long-lost tomb before opening it, but what they found was far less intriguing. It was 3 skeletons and a pool of brown sewage water. So, while they don't believe they cast a curse, they may have omitted some harmful gases. Number 5. The Pregnant Mummy. Can you believe that they found pregnant mummies? Well, number 5 is pregnant mummies. Researchers were astounded to discover that the Egyptian mummy was a pregnant lady. An Egyptian mummy transferred from Egypt to Poland in the early 1800s. A team of Polish scientists recently conducted further tests, and what they uncovered was thought to be the world's first pregnant mummy. There are terrible jokes, but thinking about them is too painful. The mummy dated from the 1st century BC and was kept for many years. It was thought to be the body of a male priest, but current scientific things can dig around where it wasn't. Scientists at the National Museum of Warsaw revealed through radiological scanning that the mummy was not only a woman, but that she was roughly 28 weeks pregnant when she died. That fact alone can only make us sad. Number 6. Buried hands. The finding of 16 buried hands in Egypt. And now for something truly frightening. The sinister and quite gory discovery of a whole load of hands put in the pits dating back roughly 3,600 years. So why would there be such a bunch of severed hands in a hole? That is quite a valid question. Let's look into it. Warriors had a very peculiar and pretty awful custom of chopping off the right hands of their foes, not so much as trophies as you might suppose. Although there is an element of that in it, they would rather trade their hands for gold, and you know how much the Egyptians loved their bright stuff. When a fighter won a battle against an enemy, they would chop off their opponent's hands to eliminate their strength and ensure that they would have no power for the rest for eternity. You know how ancient Egyptians felt about carrying everything with them into the afterlife, and these hands were then swapped for gold and buried in these holes. Number 7. The SHABTI dolls. We all had dolls at the time of our age. Imagine dolls going to work instead of us. The concept is funny, as well as scary. The ancient Egyptians had quite a strong sense of what the afterlife would be like and what they would require to spend forever there. They thought that the kingdom of the dead was an identical mirror image of present existence on Earth, and that when a person died, they simply passed from the earthly to the eternal. So they felt they'd need something to assist them to traverse to the afterlife. And naturally, the affluent took a lot more with them. As they had in life, so too in death. The deceased's whole existence on Earth would be portrayed in the domain of death. People would be allowed to follow their passions and such exactly as they did in life, which included, weirdly enough, employment. Yes, if you were a working person in life, you would continue to work in death, which seems more like hell than eternity on Earth. If an Egyptian was unable to work because of illness or other factors, including death, they might delegate their duties to someone else. So they created these shadow puppets to stand in their place when they were unable to do their tasks. SHABTI dolls were the metaphorical funeral artifacts that would follow the dead into the afterlife. Number 8. The Statue of KAUPPER. This is the statue of KAUPPER, a priest. It was able to endure because it was built of high quality wood. This is cedar, most likely from Lebanon. Unlike many other wooden sculptures constructed of low quality local wood, this one was initially carved in wood. After that, it was then plastered and ultimately painted. It depicts KAUPPER in a striding position with his left foot forward and a staff in his left hand. It's thought that he was holding a cylinder in his right hand, but that no longer exists. The eyes of the statue are inlaid with black stone calcite and rock crystal, and are highlighted with copper, indicating the size and possibly wealth of the man depicted. Number 9. The Limestone Coffin. An Egyptian archaeological delegation from the Ministry of Antiquities discovered a limestone casket holding 2 mummies. They discovered a well-preserved limestone coffin with 2 poorly preserved mummies at the Quesna Quarry excavation site. 2 mummies were kept over each other in the coffin, which was decorated with gold chips. Surprisingly, a Ptolemaic-era bronze nail, coins, jugs, and plates were discovered alongside the coffin. And at number 10, mummified babies. The remains of 2 fetuses were found in the tomb in ancient Egypt. People assumed that it was the boy King Tutankhamun who was shot. But today, we know that they may have been twins and were very likely his children. New research suggests the 2 fetuses were likely twins and fathered by the king, and the reason for their death is still unknown. And that is our list for today. Which of these incredible finds did you think was most interesting? Did any of them scare you? Let us know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Want to see more mysterious discoveries by scientists? Then subscribe to the channel Ancient History and hit that bell icon for more interesting content. Be sure to check out the other cool things that are showing up on your screen, and I'll see you next time.